Good afternoon, children. Today you are going to revise chapter 2, Microorganisms, Friends or Foes. As you know, foes means enemies. So you will read about microorganisms. All of you see a large number of living organisms around you, like plants and animals. You can see them, but some living organisms which are very small are present around you. You cannot see them by your naked eyes. You need microscope to see them. Such tiny organisms are called microorganisms. And in biology there is a separate branch in which we study about microorganisms. This branch is called microbiology. These microorganisms may be useful, so they are our friends, or they may be harmful also, so we can say they are our foes. Now let's see how they are useful and how they are harmful. Firstly, you should know that microorganisms are divided into 4 classes on the basis of their cell structure. These classes are bacteria, fungi, algae and protozoans. These bacteria are unicellular plants. They may be rod-shaped or spherical or spiral or comma-shaped, etc. According to their shape, they are named as bacillus, cocci, spiral, vibrio cholerae, etc. Now you should know that these bacteria are useful as well as harmful. Some examples of bacteria are Staphylococcus, Lactobacillus, etc. Now, fungi are non-green plants. They do not contain chlorophyll, so they cannot synthesize their own food. They may be unicellular or may be multicellular. Examples like yeast is a fungus which is unicellular. Rhizopus or bread mould is also a fungus. These fungi depend on rotten material to get their food, so they are also called saprophytes. Sapro means rotten and phytes means plants. Now come to algae. Algae are also plants. They can synthesize their own food because chlorophyll is present, like Spirogyra, Chlamydomonas, etc. Now protozoans are microscopic unicellular animalcule. They move from one place to another place with the help of cilia, flagella or pseudopodia. Examples you have seen, amoeba moves with the help of pseudopodia and euglena moves with the help of flagellum and paramecium moves with the help of cilia. So, the locomotory organ is cilia, flagella or pseudopodia. Now, you should know, children, that viruses are unique because sometimes they behave as living and sometimes they behave as non-living. When they float in the air, they can be crystallized and they can be stored in a jar. So they are behaving as non-living. But when they enter the host cell, they start to reproduce. When they enter the body of plant, animal or bacteria, they start to reproduce. So reproduction is very important characteristic of living things. Therefore, scientists consider them at the borderline of living and non-living. Now, the next topic is how the microorganisms are useful for us. Microorganisms are useful for making many food items like curd and cheese is made with the help of bacteria. Lactobacillus is a bacterium that converts milk into curd. Now, for making idli and dosa also, that yeast is very useful because fermentation process is carried out with the help of yeast. During fermentation, sugar is converted into alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy is released. And this process is also useful in making alcoholic beverage. So fermentation process is very useful in making alcoholic beverage, and this process is carried out with the help of yeast. So they are very helpful in making food items. They are used in bakery also to make the bread fluffy and spongy. Now we will see that microorganisms are useful in the production of energy. Methane and ethyl alcohol is very good fuel. Methane is produced by bacteria in biogas reactor, and ethyl alcohol is produced during fermentation, and both are very good fuel. Okay. Now you will see that the microorganisms are useful in cleaning our environment. They maintain biogeochemical cycle like nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle, etc. During this process, they add nutrients in the soil also. They are natural cleanser. They clean our environment. When they act on dead and decaying matter, during this process they add nutrients in the soil, and they also make the soil fertile. Some microorganisms are useful in agriculture. You have read in the previous class, like rhizobium is converting atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate. Rhizobium is found in the root nodules of leguminous plant, and it converts atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate, and plants use this nitrate as fertilizer. So microorganisms are useful in agriculture. They are also useful in cleaning our environment. I have discussed everything. Now you will see they are useful in our health also. Some microorganisms are found in the large intestine, and they help in digestion and absorption of food. You have read in the previous class that some bacteria are found in the cecum of cow. In the digestive system of cow, you have seen that cecum is a part in which bacteria are present, and they help in digestion and absorption of food in cow. So they help in digestion of food also. Some microorganisms are used to make antibiotics. Antibiotics are the chemicals which kill the microbes without killing the cells of our body. These antibiotics are also made with the help of microorganisms. Then you should know that vaccines provide immunity to our body. Now this vaccine is also made with the help of some microorganism. The vaccines are given in our body by two methods. One is inoculation and other one is oral method. Okay. Now the next important advantage of microorganism is it is useful in making vitamin B complex, used in making vaccines. So this is all about the uses of microorganism. So we can say they are our friends, but at the same time they are harmful also, like they may damage our clothes, they may damage leather items, they may cause spoilage of food, they may cause disease. So they are harmful and they are our foes. You know children that when microbes enter our body we fall sick, and diseases are of, why do we fall sick? Because these microorganisms produce toxins in our body. Toxins are harmful substances, harmful these toxin, these harmful materials, toxins, due to which we fall sick. Now the diseases are of two types: communicable disease and non-communicable disease. Communicable diseases spread from infected person to healthy person, and non-communicable diseases are not spreading. They are caused due to lack of nutrients in our diet, like deficiency disease, like diabetes or night blindness, these are not caused by infection, it is not communicable disease, it is caused due to lack of nutrient in the diet. So, these are non-communicable diseases. Now you should know about the infectious diseases caused by microorganisms. Bacteria may cause disease like typhoid, tetanus, cholera, etc. Then viruses may cause disease like common cough and cold, influenza, mumps, rabies, etc. Then protozoans may cause diseases like malaria, sleeping sickness, amoebic dysentery, etc. So you have seen that microorganisms cause many diseases. Now, how these diseases are transmitted? Mode of transmission of disease. These diseases may be transmitted through air, water, soil or animals. Some examples are like influenza, common cough and cold is transmitted through air. Suppose if someone is suffering from common cough and cold, then he or she will cough or sneeze, droplets will come out, and in this droplet virus will be there. This virus will cling to the dust particle in the air, and when the air will be inhaled by a healthy person, then virus will enter the body of healthy person, and healthy person may suffer from common cough and cold. Similarly, TB, tuberculosis or some diseases like influenza, these are transmitted through air. Next, some diseases are transmitted through water like cholera, typhoid, etc. Now, some diseases are transmitted through animals like malaria is transmitted through animal, then rabies is transmitted through animal. Now, what are the methods of prevention of disease? There are some methods like vaccination. Vaccines provide immunity to the body, and this vaccination may prevent many diseases like TB, polio, mumps, tetanus, etc. Diseases may be also prevented by maintaining personal hygiene and community hygiene, like ringworm is prevented through maintaining personal hygiene. Like you can take your bath regularly, trim your nail regularly, use your personal soap, personal comb, etc. So, and change your dress every day after taking bath. These are the ways through which you can maintain your personal hygiene, and you maintain your community hygiene also, and then you can prevent the disease. Next method to prevent disease is by using mosquito net and mosquito repellent, because some diseases are transmitted through mosquito like dengue or malaria. Next method to prevent disease is by proper disposal of waste and using disinfected water. You can prevent disease like cholera. Next topic is diseases caused by microorganisms in animals. You have read, children, that foot and mouth disease or anthrax. These diseases are caused in cattle by microorganisms. So in the question you may be asked that anthrax is caused by which microorganism and it is caused in which organism. So it is caused by, anthrax is caused by bacteria and it infects which animal? Cattle. Similarly, foot and mouth disease is caused by virus in cattle. In this way, one table is given. Rabies is caused by virus in dog and monkey. This table you have to memorize. Now, microorganisms may cause disease in plants also, like tobacco mosaic plant is a disease caused by virus. Similarly, citrus canker is a disease caused by bacteria. So you have to memorize red rot of sugar cane or smut of rice, rust of wheat. These diseases are caused by fungus in plants. Now, next topic is food poisoning. Due to mishandling of food or due to improper storage of food, sometimes we may suffer from nausea, or stomach pain, vomiting, etc. This is called food poisoning. Intake of contaminated food may make us sick, and this is called food poisoning. Now, the microorganisms that cause food poisoning is Aspergillus and Clostridium and Staphylococci. Fungus and bacteria. Bacteria is Clostridium and Staphylococcus, and fungi like Aspergillus may cause food poisoning. How can we prevent this food poisoning? By proper handling of food, by proper storage of food. Now, next topic is food preservation. By food preservation means protecting the food from microbes that cause spoilage of food. We can inhibit the growth of microorganisms by some methods, and this method is called food preservation. Now, some methods are like drying or preserving food with the help of sugar and salt, or we can use chemical preservatives, pasteurization, or deep freezing, canning, vacuum packing. These are the methods of preservation of food. So, I had discussed these methods earlier. All of you will revise this chapter and you will memorize all the methods of food preservation. Name the food items that are preserved by using sugar and salt. You can write pickles. Name the chemical preservatives. You can write sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfite. What is pasteurization? The process of heating milk at high temperature like 72 to 73 degrees Celsius and cooling it down and then packing it in the bottle is called pasteurization. So, you can revise all the methods of food preservation. Thank you, children.